Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to continue talking about slope. Today we talked about our 2R rules for slope, which is rise over run, which is still true. But today, I'm going to go ahead and shrink this guy down here. We are going to talk about how we find it between 2 points if they're not on a graph. So if we had a huge point like 100 and -5, 500, right? We don't have to count between those necessarily, right? They're not going to fit on a graph nicely. So how can we find it without looking at a graph? So we have this formula, and actually I'm going to rewrite this formula because a lot of times this helps students and it is a little bit easier to remember. So it's y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So I would just even cross this one out. This one is going to help you a lot more. Okay, it means the same thing, but it'll be helpful. So we subtract the y's and subtract the x's, okay? Because remember, rise is on top, and rise is the change in y value, and run is the change in x value. So that's why y's are on top and x's are on bottom. So that's usually where students struggle the most, is not remembering to put the y's on top, okay? So you should memorize that formula. Okay, so when I'm looking at a problem, I have slope between 2 points. I'm going to label these. So this is x and y, and this is x and y as well. I'm going to call these ones the first ones, and these ones the second ones. Okay, we could call this one x2, y2, and this one x1, y1. That doesn't matter, but I can't be like, oh, this one is x1 and this one is y2. Like, the ones and twos have to go together, okay? So I usually just typically order them right away, left to right, okay? So then I have my formula. So I have m equals y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Okay. And then I'm just going to plug in my numbers. Well, y1 is 8 and y2 is 4. So we have 8 minus 4. x1 is 4, so we're going to plug in a 4. And x2 is 1, so minus 1. Well, 8 minus 4 is 4, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So the slope is 4/3. Again, it's totally normal to get a fraction for slope, okay? So don't let that panic you, okay? All right, let's go ahead and try another one. Okay, and I'm actually going to change these. Let's change these both to negative numbers here. We'll change the 8 to a negative and the 2 to a negative. Okay, just because a lot of times students mess up when we have negative numbers. So again, I'm just going to label it x1, y1, x2, y2. Remember, in an ordered pair, the x always comes first. And I'm going to have my slope equal to y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And I'm going to plug in what I know. So y1 is 5 minus y2, which is 2. x1 is negative 2 minus, now this is where we have a lot of issues a lot of times. This is a negative 8. So notice how I'm putting it in parentheses. That's because I have a subtraction sign from my formula and I have a negative 8 from what I'm plugging in. Okay? So please, please, please be careful with that. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Now 2 minuses make a plus. And negative 2 plus 8 is 6. And I always reduce my fractions if I get a fraction answer. So this, would be 1/2. Okay, so I should be able to give you 2 points and you find the slope from them. We can also write 2 points in a table. Okay, so if you leave and walk home and get a given direction at a steady pace, your distance d feet from home is directly proportional to the time x minutes you walk. You can use the table and the graph to represent a proportional relationship. From the table, you can see that the constant of proportionality is 250. So what is the slope of the line? Okay, we learned about constant of proportionality in 7th grade, but let's focus on finding the slope of the line. Okay, so when I have a table, I just pick 2 of the points. So I'm gonna pick this one and this one. Okay, I could have picked 2 and 500, I could have picked 4 and 1,000, whatever. It doesn't matter which 2 you pick. You're just going to pick 2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to write them as an ordered pair. So this would be 1, 250, and 3, 750. So go ahead from there, use our slope formula that we had earlier, and see if you can find the slope. So I'm going to have m equals y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. I'm going to go ahead and label these. Okay, so y1 is 250 minus y2, which is 750. x1 is 1 minus x2, which is 3. So I'm going to get negative 500 over negative 2, which is going to reduce out, so the 2 negatives cancel out, and 2 goes into 500 250 times. Okay, we could put the 250 over 1, that's up to you. Okay. So notice the slope is the same as the constant of proportionality. So that constant of proportionality we learned in 7th grade is really the slope of the line, okay? All right, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.